Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled just to console, to be understood just to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying to self that we are born to eternal life. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace be for. This morning our subject is Follow Me. Today we are observing our Christmas service virtually. We feel bad when the devotees cannot come to the temple because of this COVID-19. But glory to YouTube and Zoom and all this modern technology, that people from all over the world can attend our service. You see, sometimes good comes from bad. I was deeply thinking, some good must come from this corona. It may take a little time. When I read the Ramayana, we find Sita was kidnapped by Ravana. That is bad. But Ravana, the demon, was killed. That is good. We find in the Mahabharata, Draupadi was persecuted, tortured physically. That is bad. But as a result, the whole unrighteous Kuru dynasty was destroyed. That is good. Good and bad, very relative things. Jesus was crucified. That is very bad, very painful. But Jesus was resurrected. That is wonderful. Without resurrection, there is no Christianity. So this COVID-19 last 9 months, it started from March, devastated this whole world. We are homebound, we are getting more time to think about ourselves. Many people are working from home, of course. We are very close to our families. We have more time to think about the goal of human life. So our busy life turned into our contemplative life. So that is good. We may think more about our goal. Anyhow, follow me. Jesus, maybe I counted 15, 16, maybe more times he talked about follow me. Follow me. I am the light. He who followeth me shall not walketh in darkness. It is like our Vedic prayer. Tamaso ma jyotir kamaya. Lead us from darkness to light. That darkness is ignorance. Jesus will show us the path of light. He says, I am the light. This path of God and spiritual path is really wonderful. In the Bhagavatam it says, this Bhagavad Dharma, this path of this spirituality is luminous. You will never fall. Even if you walk with closed eyes, you will not stumble. We read in the Bible, Jesus said, ye enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, broad is the way that leadeth to destruction. Straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth to life. That is a great statement. Straight is the gate. But the way is very narrow. And broad gate, wide gate, broad way. Most people travel in that path. Human beings are eternal travelers, they will have to travel. No escape. You must move on. We have that inner spirit which will never make you stagnant. Stagnation is death. Expansion is life. Movement is life. We'll have to move on. There are two paths in front of us. As Jesus showed two paths, straight gate and the narrow one. In the Upanishad we find Shreya and Preya, the path of good and the path of the pleasant. The path of good, Nisreyosh, will lead us to liberation. But very few people walk in that road. And path of pleasant, that is the path of Maya, enjoyment, worldly enjoyment that binds us. That is the path of the world. Most people walk this easy path, pleasant, which brings pleasure instantly. You will not have to wait. Sense pleasure comes immediately. But the other, the path of good, it takes time. As Krishna says in the Gita, Manushanam sahasreshu koshi jatati siddhai jatatam api siddhanam koshi mambetti tattvataha. Millions of people come to this spiritual life. No, only few people come, among thousands, that Krishna says, among millions, only few people come to spiritual life. And those who come, only few of them succeed. It is Durgam patastat kabayo vadanti. Upanishad says this path is walking on the sharp edge of a razor. Durgam patastat kabayo. Kshurasya dhara nishita durataya. This path is very, very difficult. As you are walking on the sharp edge of a razor. That path will lead you to immortality. The other path, path of pleasure, destruction, death. Follow me. Whom should you follow? What is the path? This question arose in the Vanaparvam of the Mahabharata. Yaksha asked Yudhishthira, I have 4 questions, please answer. First, what is the news? Second, what is the wonder? Third, what is the path? Fourth, who is happy? These are my 4 questions. Yudhishthira replied, Maha moho katahe. This whole world you see is just like a cauldron. And there is a fire behind. And all these beings are cooked. By whom? By time. Time is devouring our longevity every day. We observe birthday, we do not realize that we are moving one step toward the grave. Second, what is the wonder? People die every day around us, but we think we shall never die. That is wonder. Third, what is the path? Scriptures are many. The sages are also many, and their opinions are also many different. There are many, and they are all different. But the path which has been trod or trodden by the great illumined people, follow that path. That is the true path. And the essence of religion is in the heart. Go within. The 4th question, who is happy? That person is happy who has no debt. He may eat a little rice and spinach once a day, but he sleeps happily, he gets up, bathes from happily, he has no debt, no credit card. Follow the path of the great soul. I remember a funny thing happened in California. You see, in Laguna, I used to work sitting on the cross-legged on the floor, and I have a small table there, I had computer. But my knees were bothering, so my doctor advised me to work on the table and chair. So Kali Mandir gave me a chair, and Cap, our devotee in California, drove me to IKEA to get a table. IKEA, perhaps you know, it is a huge store, all sorts of things you will get there. And it is that building is a zigzag, nearly 4 or 5 storage building. You will have to move like this so that you can see everything, and they may create more desire so that you can buy more things. Anyhow, so when I entered, I asked a lady, salesperson, could you tell me where could we get a table? That woman looked at me and said, follow the path. I told Cap, I got a word of wisdom from this woman. Follow the path. Cap, let us go. So we went and bought a table. So I shall never forget that woman's message to me. Follow the path. There is an arrow marker is there, you know. Funny. That message of Mahabharata, Mahajano Gato Sapantha, the great people of the world walked, follow their footsteps. Christ was a great teacher. He was an avatar. You see, Christ, Ramakrishna, their teachings may sound different, but they all said the same goal. God realization. Jesus said, seek first the kingdom of heaven, and everything shall be added unto you. Kingdom of heaven, that is God, first. And then the world. Ramakrishna also said, Age Ishwar, Pore Jagat. First God, then the world. The goal of human life is to realize God. Clear, no ambiguity in that message. Krishna also said in the Gita, Tameva sharanam gacha sarva bhavena bharata. Arjuna, take refuge in God, wholeheartedly, completely. Then you will get that eternal peace and that eternal abode. So these great teachers pointed out our goal. And now you must move on. Move on is very, very important, in spiritual life, in family life, in every station of life. Why? If you lie down, your fortune will lie down with you. If you sit up, your fortune will sit up with you. If you stand up, your fortune will stand up with you. And if you move on, your fortune will move on with you. So move on. Charai veti, charai veti. Move on, O eternal traveler. That is the message of Vedanta. Do not stop. Sometimes bad times comes, but don't stop. Move on. It will go away. Cyclone, tornado does not blow all the time. Move on. Sometimes bad times comes. Disease, pain, suffering momentarily stop our movement. Again move on. If we study the life and teachings of Christ in the light of Vedanta scriptures, we understand, we find a better perspective of Jesus' life. And we understand deeply. Some religion says God exists. But Bhagavatam says He exists and He comes and He calls. He comes and He calls. God comes to this earth and He calls human beings because I brought the eternal message. Jesus proclaimed the glory of the Heavenly Father, that is God. In three times, God comes, 3 times Jesus categorically said, I am the Son of God. Then He disclosed His divine nature. I am the truth. I am the way. I am the light. I am the bread of life. I am the life. I am the resurrection. I am the Messiah. Before Abraham was, I am. He that believeth in me shall not walk in darkness, shall not die. I and my Father are one. This kind of statements only an avatar can utter. Ordinary teachers cannot talk that way. Because these people speak with authority. They are great teachers of the world. God calls, follow me. It is a definite call to the genuine disciples who will carry His message. Sri Ramakrishna used to call in the evening from the roof of the Kuchi, O disciples, O devotees, please come. Avatars come with his own disciples, and the disciples and disciplines originated from the original root Latin word discipulus, Discipulus. If you want to be a disciple, you must practice the disciplines set by your teacher. Most of the disciples of Christ are uneducated fishermen, but they had faith, love, sincerity, obedience. But Avatar can make them great teachers, that Jesus did. In the meditation mantra of the Gita we read, Mukam karoti bachalam pangum langhayati girim. By God's grace, the lame scale mountains and the dumb become eloquent. Disciples. We see Sri Ramakrishna had 16 disciples. Only 2 of them are graduate, Swamiji and Swami Vijnananda. Ramakrishnananda and Sharadananda, they are intermediate college, 2 years college. And Abhedananda, I think, he got a school degree, matriculate. And all other disciples did not finish the school. Latu Maharaj was completely unlettered. But they are great teachers of the world. Sri Ramakrishna made them great teachers. I remember Swami Chetanananda came to our ashrama in Advaita ashrama in Calcutta. One night he was telling his reminiscences about about Premananda. Well, I was in college, I went to him and asked Maharaj, I'd like to be a monk. Swami Premananda said, we do not want illiterate people in our order. You have your master's degree and then come and be a monk. Swamiji's message you will have to carry. If you are not educated, how will you carry Sri Ramakrishna's message, Swamiji's message? Then Ajayanandaji told Premananda, Maharaj, you did not finish the school. You did not have a master's degree. Then Premananda said, you are a stupid dumbbell. We don't need any master's degree. Do you know who trained us? Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna trained us. We don't need any school or college degrees. I still remember. You are a dumbbell. Ramakrishna trained us. On the seacoast of Galilee, Jesus was walking. We find his Galilean ministry. He first saw Simon, that is Peter, and his brother Andrew. They are throwing nets in the sea for catching fish. Jesus looked at them and said, hey, follow me. They dropped the net and followed Jesus. You know, I was thinking, Jesus was a stranger. They did not know Jesus at all. If somebody comes on the street and tells you, follow me, will you follow that person? No way. They must have seen something. They must recognize their teacher. And Jesus also recognized his disciples. These people will carry my message. Then he moved a little bit further and he found James and John and their father were mending net, sitting on a boat. Jesus called them, those two young boys, hey, follow me. Immediately they left that net with their father and followed Jesus. Follow me. Then Jesus found Matthew, a tax collector. That profession was very, very despised, hated by the people, because this tax collector tortured people and collect the tax. They are hated. So Jesus saw him and said to Matthew, follow me. Immediately he left that place and followed Jesus. Thus one after another he chose his 12 disciples. On another occasion Jesus said, my sheep hear my voice and I know them and they follow me. It is John 10:27. That is a fantastic statement. I know my sheep. I know my disciples. And the disciples understand my voice. Many are called, but few are chosen. You know, sometimes it is amazing, sometimes when I read Bible, Sermon on the Mount, we find multitudes follow Jesus. Sometimes Jesus is feeding 5,000, 4,000 people with 5 loaves and 4, 5 fish. Those are all miracles, of course. You know, it is not easy to collect 4,000, 5,000 people at that time in that part of the country. There are 5 Jewish settlements on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. People flocked him. That is the Yogamaya Rakorshan, according to Vedanta. Yogamaya, the attractive power of God. Pull people. Nobody can resist that pull. That we find in Christ's life. Tremendous attractive power. Magnetic power. Jesus put a condition to his disciples: if anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny self and take up his cross and follow me. Deny self. Do you know what does mean? It means shun ego, efface your ego, uproot your ego. If you are an egotistic person, you cannot carry God's message. No way. Sometimes I give an illustration. Here is a flute. If there is some stuff inside the flute, you cannot make any sound. The inside must be hollow. So Jesus says, deny yourself, eradicate your ego first. Second, carry my cross. Cross means responsibility. Cross means self-sacrifice. I remember when I joined the monastery, a monk told me, do you know the inner significance of cross? This capital I, cut. Do you know what that means? Cut your ego. That is a beautiful message the monk gave me on a Christmas night in Advaita Ashrama in 1959, I think. Follow me. Give up your ego and now self-sacrifice. Carry my burden, my message. For whosoever wishes to save his life shall lose it, but whosoever loses his life for my sake shall find it. If you give up your life for God, you will find fulfillment in life. Your life will be glorious. Look, those 12 disciples of Christ are worshipped and adored all through the ages. It is said that all 12 disciples, died as martyrs. I was reading my Hellish Bible. They are persecuted, they are tortured, they are killed. But they never gave up the ideal. That is true sacrifice. I remember the first day after Pentecost, when Peter gave a talk, in one lecture he converted 3,000 Jews into Christianity. That Pentecost, that Christ's power entered the disciples. And it just spread, because that is the truth. Truth cannot be hidden. Man cannot worship God and mammon at the same time. It is not easy to follow the footsteps of an avatar. We have so many shortcomings. We are not perfect, but God is perfect. So He wants His disciples to be perfect. Be ye perfect. That we read in the Sermon on the Mount. Be perfect. Swami Vivekananda defined religion in the West. Religion is the manifestation of divinity already in human beings. Religion is the manifestation of perfection already in human beings. Only God, Brahman, is perfect. In the domain of Maya, Satya, Nritya, Mithuni, truth and untruth mixed up. That is Maya. In the domain of duality, in Maya, there is no perfection. Perfection is only in that spiritual plane. That Christ was telling, be ye perfect. To attain perfection, we need an ideal model to follow. Ramakrishna says, I made the mold. You cast yourself in this mold. I read that book, The Imitation of Christ. How to imitate Christ? Through humility, through love, through sincerity, through renunciation. That is the way. Be perfect. I remember a funny story. I was listening to the local radio station. The man was telling a story. A pastor, a minister in a village church was talking about the perfection of Christ. Only God, only Christ is perfect. You people are all sinners. He was pounding on perfection. Then he said, is there anybody in my congregation can say that I am perfect? Raise your hand. Nobody raised the hand. Then he said, is there anybody, have seen anybody perfect? Raise your hand. Nobody raised the hand. Then he asked, have you heard anybody perfect? Raise your hand. One person in the back raised the hand. Then the minister was pounding on him. Are you perfect? No, sir. Have you seen anybody perfect? No, sir. Have you heard anybody perfect? Yes, sir. Who is that person? My wife's first husband. And now you know why you could not understand this American joke. So I was asking someone, he explained, Swami, whatever this man does, his wife says, my first husband was better than you. Anyhow, that is my story of perfection. My wife's first husband is only perfect. To attain that perfection, one should take initiation. I remember a group of contemplative outreach would come to our temple to learn meditation from us. The one girl, her name was Susie Matsuzi, I still remember her. I told her, Susie, look, there is one thing lacking in Christianity, which is in Vedanta. In Vedanta tradition, we have a guru, we have a mantra, we have a ishta. Guru gives instruction with the mantra, connects with the ishta, chosen deity, and they have a definite and a precise way they can move forward in a spiritual journey. Then she went to in Colorado, that father, he started that organization. I forget the name. Anyhow, he said, well, Swami said these things. The father knew me. He came to our temple also. The father said, please tell Swami, our answer is Matthew 6:6, where Christ said, go to the closet and pray secretly, and the Father in heaven will reward you. So prayer in the solitude, secretly, that is our secret. Anyhow, I still remember. Christ also mentioned except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. This born again is initiation, spiritual birth. You see, our parents gave the birth to our physical bodies, but Guru gives birth to the spiritual body. That is initiation. There is a German mystic, Angelus Silesius, mentioned, Christ may be born 1,000 times in Bethlehem, but if he be not born anew within your own heart, you remain eternally forlorn. That's a beautiful way. You will have to bring Christ in your life, in your heart. After initiation, practice spiritual disciplines, and thus he will be illumined. The Christian people call it divine communion, Vedanta people call it samadhi, Buddhist people call it nirvana. Same thing. Now, purity and renunciation are the two wings to fly to the path of God. Christ said, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. That one sentence is enough. Pure in heart. Pure in heart means completely desireless. Then God will manifest. A rich man came to Jesus and wanted to follow him. Jesus told him, sell whatever you have and then follow me. He could not do it. That is renunciation. Many of his teachings are for the monastics. A man expressed his desire to follow. He said, the foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. You see, Jesus was an itinerant monk. He did not build any house. He traveled. Stayed with his devotees' house, sometimes in the camp. And he preached all over Judea and all this Galilee and other places. His followers provided him food and shelter. Another person wanted to follow Jesus. My father died, after burying him I shall come. Jesus said, follow me and let the dead bury their dead. Give up. That's a beautiful message. Then we find those who followed him, he trained them. Training in his spiritual life is very, very important. Preparation, I call it. Prastuti. Prepare yourself. The disciples lived with Jesus 24 hours a day. He saw his divine life, spiritual power, his love and compassion, purity and renunciation overwhelmed them. In spiritual life, as I said, perfection is very important. One cannot have samadhi without following these first 7 steps. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana. Then comes samadhi in the 8th stage. Same thing in Buddhism. You will have to follow the Eightfold Path of Buddha. Same thing in Christianity. The 9 Beatitudes which Christ mentioned in the Sermon on the Mount. That is the essence of Christianity to me. Christ's life was his message. The disciples told the eventful, powerful, glorious life of Christ to the masses and converted them into Christianity. People are charmed hearing Christ's parables. Very simple, beautiful. You see, the masses cannot understand high philosophy. So you will have to tell through stories, through parables. Same thing we find in Ramakrishna's gospel, full of parables. Very effective. It will penetrate into the minds of the masses. After training, Jesus sent his disciples to preach his mission. Preach as you go, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Kingdom of heaven is within you. Please follow these two statements. The kingdom of heaven is at hand and kingdom of heaven is within you. He's made himself separate from the Jewish tradition. The Jewish tradition says the kingdom of heaven is above. Above. But Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is within you. Kingdom of heaven is at hand. The kingdom of heaven is within you is just pure Vedanta. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Jesus said, preach as you go, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, cast out demons. You received without pay, give without pay. Freely you have received, freely you give. Jesus did not charge that my teachings, my meditation technique, you will have to pay $100. No way. Nowadays people sell mantras. Then he told them, take no gold, no silver, nor copper in your belts, no bag for your journey, nor 2 tunics, nor sandals, nor a staff, for the laborer deserves his food. And wherever town or village you enter, find out who is worthy in it, and stay with him until you depart. As you enter the house, salute it, and if the house is worthy, let your peace come upon it. Anyhow, in this way, Jesus talked about how to preach. These are all the signs of the mendicants, monks. No possessions. Renunciation. People will see these people have renounced the world for God. So their words are also become very powerful. Another thing we find, these disciples heard something new from Jesus. You see, you will have to understand, these people are mostly Jewish. Christianity came from Judaism. Jesus was a Jew. We see the difference, what he was talking about. You have heard that it was said to the men of old, you shall not kill, and whoever kills shall be liable to judgment. But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother shall be liable to judgment. Whoever insults his brother shall be liable to the council, and whoever says, you fool, shall be liable to the hell of fire. Look how Jesus was telling his disciples the difference between the previous religion and my religion. You have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say to you, do not resist one who is evil. But if any one strikes you on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if anyone would sue you and take your coat, let him have your cloak as well. And if anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with him 2 miles. You have heard that it was said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be sons of your Father who is in heaven. Anyhow, this is the way we find how he is speaking something new which those people have never heard. Very, very interesting if you hear how Christ was training his disciples. Let me ask you who are listening to this talk, if Jesus comes right now here and says, "Follow me," who is ready? I think none of us, even me. I shall tell, "Well, Lord, please wait. The pictorial book will go to the printer. I have some work to do." I remember a funny story. Swami Chetanananda was coming from Allahabad to Banaras to look after the construction of the Banaras hospital. From the station, he took a horse carriage, and that carriage overturned, and he fell down, and he was injured, and cuts and bruises, and finally he came to the ashram. At night time he has a high fever, and he was thinking, "Lord, I came to work for you and I have this problem. I cannot get up from my bed." Then Lord Shiva appeared before him and wanted to, and embraced him, and his all pain gone. Then he told Lord Shiva, "Lord, I cannot go with you. I'll have to work for Sri Ramakrishna right now here. You please go." So I have some work to do. I hope we shall be ready when call comes. Swamiji says, "Ab Shiva mera tori par karo naiya." "Oh Lord, please take my boat to the other shore of the Maya." Ready. Who is ready? There are many Indian folklores. One guru came to his disciple and said, "You know, you have enough. You have wife, children, family, wealth, you have everything you have. Now come to spiritual life." The disciple said, "No, I have something to do to my young sons, you know. He is not yet ready. You please come later. Let him grow." So young son grew up, and the guru came and found the disciple died. Then he was thinking, he is not supposed to die. But let me check that where his soul is. So he found there is a big bull in the house, and he realized that disciple has been born as a bull to help his youngest son. So he put some water on the bull and get the message. You see, Indian folklore, all the stories are, everything is possible. The bull says, "Lord, please give me some time." The bull died. Then again he says, the bull died. Where is he? After some years, then he found that he was born as a dog. But again he brought back life to man's life and says, "Tell me that now you can come, you have enough." But no, I have to protect their money and wealth from the thieves, so I shall stay here as dog. Then he left, and again, "You please come later." So again he came and found the dog is dead. So he found that there is a snake below the house. But what is the matter? Then he said, "Lord," then was the snake. "But Lord, I am now protecting their hidden treasure under the ground." Then the guru told the disciple, his sons and grandsons, "Kill the snake." They killed it. Then he was released and went to his guru. That's all Indian stories. Ramakrishna also told many funny stories. A guru came to the husband and said, "Come and follow me." "Sir, I cannot come right now. I am my wife, my children, my family. How can I come? My old mother." "Really, come, they will look, God will look after them." "Oh no, please give me some time." Then Guru said, "All right, let me give you a medicine. You take it, you will be like dead, but you will be able to hear everything." So he took the pill, and night time they found him dead. In the morning the Guru came, and the whole house, they are crying. All people are crying for this man. Then Guru came and says, "I can bring back life to this man. Please do. But on condition, I shall give a pill. That pill you will have to eat. Then in exchange, you can get back life to this man." He asked the mother, "You are an old lady, why don't you take this pill and give back to your son?" "Oh no, I cannot do that. You see, I want to live a little bit more." Then asked the wife. Wife says, "Oh no, I cannot do that. I have to raise my children." In this way he asked all, and nobody wanted to give their lives for exchange of that man. And this man was listening everything. Then Guru said, "Now get up. You heard that about the statements of your wife, your mother, your children. Nobody wants to give their lives for you. Come with me." And he left home and became the disciple of this Guru. There are many stories are there. Who is ready? Who can answer the call? Follow me. Christ's message, "Follow me," is not ended. That call still in the air. Jesus said, "He who has ears, let him hear." Let him hear. He tells us, "If you continue in my word, you are truly my disciples, and you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free." It is not easy to follow Christ, Krishna, Ramakrishna. You will have to be very genuine. There should not be any hypocrisy in your mind. Your mind and your speech must be united. You must be extremely sincere and truthful. Listen to Christ's gospel of hope. "Come unto me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." This is a beautiful experience. "Those who are heavy laden, come unto me, and I shall give you rest." We need rest. We carry so much load, so much responsibility, so much burden on our shoulders. We need rest. These great teachers are the fountain of peace and bliss. If we go near them, we shall get that peace and bliss. Jesus said to the Samaritan woman that the water I give, that person will never be thirsty again. That's a beautiful message. That water we can get only from the great teachers of the world, Christ, Krishna, Buddha, Ramakrishna. They are not ordinary teachers. They are God in human forms. They have tremendous power. They can change nature. One day Peter spoke up. We have left everything and followed you. What will we have? It is Matthew 19:29, 19:28-29. You know, human beings are very utilitarian. I am following you, what shall I get? I am following the spiritual life, what shall I get? You know, we ask our gurus, sir, you initiated me, what shall I get? Why should I follow spiritual life? Look what Christ answered to Peter. You can be sure that when the Son of Man sits on his glorious throne, then you 12 followers of mine will also sit on thrones to rule the 12 tribes of Israel. And everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother or children or fields for my sake will receive 100 times more and will be given eternal life. That you will get. But do you know what Swamiji said? When Jesus said the kingdom of heaven, first seek the kingdom of heaven and everything shall be added unto you, why do we need the added things? I'll be fully satisfied with the kingdom of heaven. At that time, the worldly things will not come into my mind at all. If you attain God, I do not want a shawl or a new car or a wonderful husband and wife. That desire will not arise. But Jesus tried to tempt his disciples, the followers. Ask and ye shall receive. Knock and ye shall find. Ask and ye shall receive. Seek and ye shall find. And knock, it shall be opened unto you. So knock. We shall have to knock the door of God so that we can see Him. So that we can see Him. And before we see Him, we must follow His footsteps. That is the message of our Christmas. Follow Jesus. Follow God. Thank you. I shall say the prayer of Saint Teresa. Let nothing disturb you, nothing dismay you. All these things are passing. God never changes. Patient endurance attains all things. God alone suffices. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace went forth. Ma.